This is part 4 of a mini-series about Ramses II's life. If you want to watch the other parts, then click here or check my channel. Let's get started. When you think of ancient Egypt, what comes to mind? Pyramids, pharaohs, and perhaps a sphinx watching over it all. Among the most famous pharaohs, the name Ramses II towers like a giant statue carved into a mountain. He was a great builder, a powerful warrior, and ruled for over 60 years. But behind the legends, who was Ramses II really? What was family life like in his huge royal court? How did he die and what happened after? This is the final chapter in our series uncovering the secrets of the mighty pharaoh, focusing on his family, his death, and what came next. So let's dive into history and find out what secrets Ramses II's family holds. The name Ramses II is synonymous with power and glory. He was the third pharaoh of the 19th dynasty, taking the throne around 1279 BC. Imagine being in charge of one of the most powerful countries in the world back then. That's what Ramses' life was like. But being a leader doesn't mean you're safe. Throughout history, there have been cases where leaders' relatives plot against them, especially when they are old and weak. Ramses II ruled for 66 years, which gave some of his family members enough time to plan and execute their evil plans. Let's meet Nefertari. She is one of the most famous women from ancient Egypt. Thanks to her amazing tomb that is full of beautiful paintings showing scenes from her life and the beliefs of ancient Egyptians about the afterlife. Even today, after 3,000 years, her tomb amazes visitors with colors that still look fresh and alive. In ancient Egyptian, the name Nefertari means a beautiful woman has come, and she truly fits this name. She was Ramses II's favorite wife, often called the Great Royal Wife in writings. Together they were a powerful couple, working together to rule Egypt and make it stronger. They were so much alike in their interests that they even built temples together. For example, the Temple of Abu Simbel still stands proudly today. Inside this temple, there are 4 gigantic statues of Ramses II and one of Queen Nefertari. The temple shows how much they respected and loved each other. But it wasn't just love that brought them together. Sometimes marriages between rulers are more about strategy than love. In Nefertari's case, she helped Ramses to connect with the Nubian kingdom through her family ties. As queen, she wasn't just a pretty face. She went on important missions to represent Egypt, like when Ramses II sent her to represent him at a big festival in the city of Heliopolis. She also played a key role in a peace deal with the Hittites, an ancient kingdom in modern Turkey. During that time, Ramses II was busy fighting the Libyans, so Nefertari stepped in and wrote letters on his behalf, showing how smart and capable she was. Their relationship was so special that even after Nefertari died, Ramses II didn't stop loving her. He kept her memory alive by putting up huge statues of her in temples he built, and even called one of his daughters after her. However, having many wives was quite normal for a powerful king like Ramses II. He had 9 major wives throughout his long life. Don't forget that this was a time when kings were considered gods on earth. So it was common for them to have many partners. One of Ramses II's first wives was a woman named Mawrit. She caught Ramses II's eye when he was just a young prince. At the time, she was married to his father, Seti, who was the pharaoh. However, when Ramses II took the throne, he married Mawrit, signaling a clear break from his father. But their marriage didn't last forever. Soon he set his sights on a new wife, the beautiful Nofret, who became his main wife for several years. Their relationship was so important that Ramses II built the mortuary temple of Karnak specifically for Nofret. After Nofret, Nefertari took the spotlight as the most beloved queen. Later in life, Ramses II had a brief relationship with a Nubian woman named Bintana, who became a mother to 2 of his sons. Despite their short time together, Ramses II showed his affection by building her a pyramid in the kingdom of Nubia. His last wife was a young woman named Hatshepsut, who stayed by his side during his old age. Having many wives might sound complicated, but in the world of ancient Egyptian pharaohs, it was common practice. King Tutankhamun, famous for his young age, also had multiple wives. Each of these women had a different role in the king's life and society. These marriages weren't just about love. They were also a way to build connections with other kingdoms and show the king's power. Besides queens, Ramses II had a lot of kids, more than 100 to be exact. You heard that right, over 100 children. He sired these children not only with his main wives, but also with women he considered his equals and even some concubines. These children were born in the grand palaces of Ramesses, where Ramses II's family lived and worked. Can you imagine the kind of family gatherings they must have had? With so many kids running around, it must have been lively, to say the least. Among these numerous offspring, Ramses II had 3 sons who stood out because they held important positions during his reign. The oldest son was Crown Prince Amenhotep. He wasn't just any ordinary prince. He held the title of hereditary prince, which meant he was next in line to take over the throne. The second notable son was Prince Khemwaset. He had a special interest in writing and became famous for documenting and copying old texts, helping preserve ancient Egyptian knowledge for future generations. He even earned the nickname the first Egyptologist for his efforts. The youngest of the prominent brothers was Prince Merneptah. Unlike his older brothers, Merneptah wasn't as actively involved in royal duties. However, when Ramses II passed away, Merneptah took on the responsibility of ruling Egypt. Now let's talk about death. Everyone dies eventually, even kings. Ramses II lived for 90 years, which was a long time ago. Even the pharaohs had to deal with getting old and eventually dying. When someone as powerful as Ramses II dies, there are usually a lot of stories and myths that pop up. There is a story about his death that says he died while trying to conquer the land of the setting sun. But there's no proof to back up this tale. The real story is that he simply got very old and died peacefully in his palace at the age of 90 or 91. This makes him one of the longest living historical figures whose death can be confirmed with evidence. After Ramses II died, his son Merneptah took over as the new pharaoh. But the story of Ramses didn't end there. His body was treated in a special way, a process known as mummification, where the body is preserved to keep it from decaying. This was a common practice in ancient Egypt, especially for the pharaohs because they were considered divine. After wrapping his body, they put him to rest in a tomb in the Valley of the Kings, along with treasures and items he might need in the afterlife. But the person doing the burial had to remain anonymous. This was a common practice in ancient Egypt, probably to protect them from grave robbers. Over time, because of changes in ruling power and maybe due to the shifting of the Nile River, his tomb was forgotten about. Then in 1881, his mummy was found by accident in a cave at Deir el-Bahari. It was a big deal because it turned out to be the mummy of the famous Ramses II. Even today, his mummy is kept at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. People from all over the world go there to see it. Next, let's discuss Ramses the Great's legacy. He was a true icon of ancient Egypt, a symbol of power, religion and culture. Many people thought he was a god, and his statues and writings show how he wanted to be seen as a divine ruler. He built huge temples and monuments to show off his power and to praise himself. Even now, thousands of years later, people still know his name and remember his accomplishments. His story is a big part of Egyptian history and has inspired books, movies, and other works of art. When we think of ancient Egypt, we often picture Ramses the Great, a warrior, a builder, and a father. To sum up, Ramses the Great was a ruler who left a lasting impact on ancient Egypt. His ideas about religion, the way he organized the government, and his ambitious building projects were all important parts of ancient Egyptian culture. Studying his life helps us better understand this fascinating period of history. And if you want to explore more about ancient Egypt, consider checking out our series on King Tut. Thanks for watching.